Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to our online teaching initiative. Topic: Equilibrium National Income, Cbse Class 12 Economics. Investment function. Investment refers to the expenditure incurred on creation of new capital assets. This includes the expenditure incurred on assets like machinery, building, equipments, purchase of raw materials, etc. This investment can be classified into two: induced investment and autonomous investment. Induced investment. The word induced means influenced by change in a specific factor. The specific factor here is income. Income is denoted by Y. Induced investment refers to the investment which is driven by profit motive and is directly influenced by income level. So we can just conclude saying that this is positively related to income. Induced investment is positively related to income. It means when the income is high, when it is increasing, the investment will also increase. And vice versa, when the income is less, investment will also be reduced. That is why we say that it is positively related to income. And this is done particularly by the private sector. That is why their motive is profit. The motive of private sector is profit motive. Diagrammatically, the induced investment curve is a straight line increasing from left to right. Income is represented in the x-axis and investment is represented in the y-axis. As income increases from y0 to y1, the investment also increases from I0 to I1. The word induced means influenced by change. So change in income. There's a change in income and so there's a change in investment. Autonomous investment. The word autonomous means independent of the change in some specified factor. Autonomous, it means it is independent. So there's no change. However, the income is, let it be Y0 or let it be Y1, but the investment made is OA. Even if the income is 0, the investment made is OA. And that is why we say this as autonomous investment. Any variable not affected by change in income. Not affected, it means it is independent. Autonomous investment refers to the investment which is done for social welfare because this is generally made by government and is not affected by changes in the level of income. So their main motive is social welfare, and this is not related to income. What is consumption function? Let us know what is induced consumption expenditure and autonomous consumption expenditure. Induced consumption expenditure is the expenditure which rises with the rise in income. When income increases, consumption expenditure also increases. But the rate of increase in consumption is lesser than the rate of increase in income. MPC, or the marginal propensity to consume, shows how consumption expenditure changes with the changes in income. Induced consumption can be estimated by multiplying MPC into income. MPC is otherwise assumed to be B. So B into Y is the induced consumption expenditure. Autonomous consumption expenditure is the expenditure not affected by change in income. It is independent. Income does not affect the consumption expenditure. Even at zero level of income, there is some minimum consumption expenditure, and this is denoted by C dash. Autonomous consumption expenditure is not influenced by income, but induced consumption expenditure is influenced by the change in income. Consumption function. Consumption function refers to the mathematical relationship or functional relationship between consumption expenditure and income. Consumption expenditure is C and income is Y. So it tells you the relationship between consumption expenditure and income. Total consumption expenditure is autonomous consumption expenditure plus induced consumption expenditure. So let us now derive the equation of consumption function. Total consumption expenditure is C. C is equal to autonomous consumption expenditure is C dash plus induced consumption expenditure is MPC into Y. Consumption expenditure is otherwise autonomous consumption expenditure plus BY. So C is equal to C dash plus BY. Suppose C dash is 200 crores, MPC is 0.5 and income is 1000. Let us calculate consumption expenditure. C is the consumption expenditure. C dash is autonomous consumption. B is otherwise MPC and Y is income. So let us now calculate. C is equal to C dash plus BY. C dash is 200 plus B is 0.5, that is MPC, into 1000. This is equal to 200 plus 0.5 into 1000 is 500. So the total consumption expenditure is 700 crores. Consumption function, a tabular presentation. The table reveals that 20 is the minimum level of consumption and the income is 0. It means this minimum consumption is at 0 level of income. We call this as autonomous consumption. Autonomous consumption expenditure. C rises in response to a rise in income. C is positively related to Y. When the income is 50, consumption expenditure is 60. And when the income has increased from 50 to 100, the consumption expenditure has also increased from 60 to 100. Then again, when there's a difference of 50 in income, there is a difference of 40 in consumption expenditure. So C is positively related to Y. So there is positive relationship. The rate at which C increases is lower than the rate at which Y increases. Thus, while Y increases each time by 50, from 50 to 100 and 100 to 150, C increases only by 40, from 60 to 100 and then 100 to 140. Now let me explain to you this diagrammatic presentation. When we plot this data, the given data, the consumption function curve, when we plot this given data, we get the consumption function curve. This blue line, light blue line, is the consumption function curve denoted by C. C is the consumption curve. Each point on this curve shows the combination of Y, that is income, and expenditure. So you will know what is the consumption expenditure and what is the income in the economy. Consumption is measured on the Y-axis and income is measured on the X-axis. C line, that is the consumption curve line, starts from 20 when the income is 0. The income is 0 and the consumption expenditure is 20. We call this as autonomous consumption expenditure. This is the minimum level of consumption. Initially, the C curve is above Y, that is income, and then it intersects the income curve at the point B, which is called as the break-even point, and then it is below the income curve. C line is positively sloped, moving upward from left to right. It starts from 20, it moves upwards from left to right. It indicates that C is positively related to Y. Higher the income, higher is the consumption expenditure. Though initially C line, that is the consumption line, is above the Y line, eventually it remains below the Y line, implying that the rate at which C increases, that is consumption expenditure increases, is lower than the rate at which Y increases. Consumption line crosses income line at point B, and this point I've already told you, this is the break-even point. Here the total consumption is equal to total income. Y is equal to C. Income is equal to consumption. Income is 100, consumption expenditure is also 100. You can Notice this, in this tabular column, income is 100, consumption expenditure is also 100. And left to this break even point, that is at point A, for example, the income is 50, but the consumption expenditure is 60. You can notice here the difference between these two lines. So the consumption expenditure is higher than the income. This will lead to negative saving, or we call this as dissaving. Whereas right side of break even point, you can notice here the income line is above the consumption curve. Take for example point C. At point C, the income is 150. Income is 150, whereas the consumption expenditure is 140. It means income is greater than the consumption expenditure. This is at point C. And you have an excess of income here. Suppose I mark this as A. There is excess income of AC. This is the saving. This is the saving in the economy. AC is the saving in the economy because income minus consumption expenditure leads to saving. Savings function. Savings function refers to the mathematical function between income and saving. That is between Y and S. Savings is equal to income minus consumption expenditure. S is equal to Y minus C. Let us now derive the savings function equation from consumption function equation. Substituting C is equal to C dash plus BY, where C dash is autonomous consumption, plus B is MPC and Y is income. Hence, S is equal to Y minus C dash plus BY. Savings is equal to income, minus into plus is minus, minus C dash, minus into plus is minus BY. S is equal to minus C dash, that is autonomous consumption expenditure, plus Y minus BY. Therefore, S savings is equal to minus autonomous consumption expenditure plus 1 minus B Y. 1 minus B is otherwise 1 minus MPC. You know MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. Then we can substitute for the next equation for savings. S is equal to minus autonomous consumption expenditure plus 1 minus MPC. 1 minus B is 1 minus MPC. 1 minus MPC is MPS, because MPS is equal to 1 minus MPC into Y. Savings is equal to minus autonomous consumption expenditure plus MPS into Y. This is the first equation that we have got, and this is also another equation for savings. Savings function, a tabular presentation. Y is the income, C is consumption expenditure, and S is savings. Y is used, that is, income is used either for consumption or for savings. The remaining part of consumption is used as savings. Now, when the income level is 0 and when the consumption expenditure is 20, savings is minus 20 because there is 0 level of income. Y is equal to C plus S. S is otherwise Y minus consumption expenditure. 0 minus 20 is minus 20, so there is negative saving of minus 20. When the income has increased from 0 to 50, the consumption has also increased from 20 to 60. And when you compare income and consumption expenditure, the consumption expenditure is greater than income. 60 is greater than 50. And so there is again a negative saving of minus 10. At the third level, when the income has increased from 50 to 100, there is a difference of 50. Consumption expenditure has increased from 60 to 100 with a difference of 40. But the entire income is spent on consumption. As 100 is equal to 100, that is income 100 is equal to the consumption expenditure 100, there is nil saving, or we call it as zero saving. Now the next level, 100 income has increased now to 150. Consumption expenditure has increased from 100 to 140. You can see here a difference of 10, which is positive saving because the income is greater than consumption expenditure. At this level, income is greater than consumption expenditure, and that is 10. 10 is the savings. The savings function reveals that savings is minus 20 when income is 0, because C is 20 when Y is 0. Savings remains lower than income. It is never greater than income because savings is only a part of income. You cannot find here savings greater than income. Now let me give you a clear explanation with the help of this diagram. Savings is measured on the y-axis and income is measured on the x-axis. The savings line starts from minus 20. This is the negative saving because consumption is 20 and the income is 0. 0 level of income, the consumption expenditure is 20. You can see here in this tabular column, 0 level of income and the consumption expenditure is 20. So there is a negative saving of minus 20. Savings line is positively sloped and it moves upward. This blue line is the savings curve S. S is the saving curve. It moves from left to right. It indicates that savings is positively related to income. When income is high, savings is also high. This savings line crosses the x-axis at this point when income is 100. This indicates nil savings because income is equal to consumption expenditure and so there is nil savings. At this point, 150, income is greater, that is 150, whereas the consumption expenditure is 140, and that is why there is a saving of 10. You can measure this. There is savings of 10, whereas here there is nil saving and here there is dis saving.